Hi there, welcome to the channel. My name is Kai, and today we're looking at this camera here, the Insta360 GO 2. Yes, it's currently the world's smallest action camera at 26.5 grams, but is it any good? And who should consider getting one? Well, today we're looking at 10 reasons why you might want to consider getting one, and also a few reasons why you might not. So the first point on my list is ease of use. Now, I've done a lot of camera and tech reviews in the past, and one of the things I find can be a little daunting is the learning curve, how quickly you can learn to use something and how quickly you can start to master using a piece of kit.
Lovely day for a wedding.
Now, some tech you can't necessarily just take out of the box and use like a pro, because you need to sit down, read the instruction manual, watch a few YouTube videos, you need to go out and do some field tests, and eventually you get to know the menu system and the button placements, and all of that takes time. But the Insta360 GO 2 doesn't seem to fall into that category. It seems to have been made for those of you who want to just get going with a camera. You don't want to scroll around with complicated menus, you don't want to carry something that's massive and heavy, you don't necessarily want to worry about harnesses. It's something you can put in your pocket, clip on your hat, wear like your Iron Man, and something that just works from the tap of a button.
Shooting pro video at the moment while cycling, and technically this should be really stable in my hand. One of the things I love about this camera is just how easy it is to get out and start recording smooth, stabilized footage. It's something that you don't have to faff around with your camera, get your camera out, you can hold it easily in your hand. It's got a nice wide field of view, and I can literally cycle and vlog at the same time.
From my personal experience, many times in the past, I've bought a piece of kit that I thought was really cool, but because it was just too much faff to set up, too difficult to use, or non-intuitive, I ended up just using it a couple of times and then I just couldn't be bothered and either gave it away or banished it to a drawer. Like this piece of kit here. Oh man, it is actually dusty. Now, continuing the theme of being easy to use, the second point is the super easy connection to your mobile device. Now, I use a lot of Canon cameras and I love the Canon Connect app, but it can take a little bit of time to connect. The connection's not always solid, and sometimes you need to go in and out of the menu several times just to get things working. But I found that the connection to the Insta360 app works really well. You enter the app, you tap a few buttons and it connects directly to your device. And from there you can check all the footage you have, you can edit the footage, you can change the aspect ratio, it has a face filter, there's a help guide, you can download the changes directly to your mobile device and then upload those directly to your social media channels. The third point is the image stabilization. We've come to expect this from a lot of the more modern action cameras today, but one great feature from the Insta360 GO 2 is that it keeps the horizon level. Whichever way you mount it, it tries to film the right way up. If you've used the older GoPros, you might have experience of mounting the camera upside down and then having to flip the footage over in post-production, but the Insta360 GO 2 tries to be smart and do all of that for you. And while it does quite a good job of maintaining that level, I have experienced one or two issues where it seems to get confused, it freaks out a little bit, but for the most part, it takes the hassle out of trying to correct things yourself in post-production. The next point on the list, and something that I found particularly good on this camera, was the light correction. Light exposure changes are generally a pain for most video creators if you're walking from a dark room into bright sunlight or vice versa, but the Insta360 GO 2 handles this change pretty well. It's quite subtle. And again, it's just a detail that the team seem to have taken into account so that you get the best footage possible. The next point on our list is that this camera is waterproof. Note, the camera is waterproof, the charging base is not. Rated for up to 4 meters or 13 feet of depth, you can take this thing into a pool, you can take it out in the rain, you can throw it in your pond if you wanted to, and you can actually turn on a piece of functionality called Aquavision, which is an algorithm which helps to produce more vivid underwater footage. It doesn't actually seem to make my fish pond any clearer. I actually really need to clean that out. Yeah, that's embarrassing. Point number 6 are the video functions. You've got HDR video, which creates more defined contrasts and richer colors for your videos. You've got a 120 frames per second slow-mo video option, and you can shoot in 50 frames per second for slow-mo B-roll. You even have a log option to help you with your color grade later on. All very useful, depending on what you are looking to create. And here is a good place to add that if you haven't done so already, don't forget to add yourself to the KaiCreative Facebook and Instagram feeds, where you can stay up to date with all of our photography sessions, video productions, short films, camera reviews, and other creative happenings. The next few points are specifically around the Insta360 Studio software and the app, both of which are free to download. And first up, Hyperlapses. I've always wanted to create hyperlapses, but never had the patience to make one. And on the Insta360 GO 2, it is incredibly easy to create these hyperlapses. You can use the time-lapse mode and just literally walk towards an object or building, try to keep things in the center of the lens, and then using the software, you can stabilize things, you can adjust the speed, you can add motion blur, and then you have some very usable, cool-looking hyperlapses that you can use in your video productions and on social media. And bouncing off of that is the 8th point, which is the flow state stabilization in the studio and in the app. This is simply incredible. It takes the already stabilized footage that you shoot and makes it look like it's floating on air. The algorithms they use to correct things are actually quite awesome. And I think the guys at Adobe who support Warp Stabilizer could learn a thing or two from the Insta360 guys. I know it's not exactly the same because of the internal gimbals and stuff like that, but I'm just saying. The app also allows you to change the field of view and the aspect ratio, and this is the 9th point on our list. Changing the FOV from ultra wide to action view to linear or narrow is as simple as clicking a button, and this is the same for the aspect ratio. You have the traditional 16:9 aspect ratio for your YouTube videos, and at the click of a button, you can change this to 9:16 for your social stories, and then you can embed that directly online from the app or export it to your machine. The final point on our list is again in the app, and this is something that's referred to as Flashcut, and this makes creative edits from your camera footage to different musical templates that you choose. Now, you've probably experienced something similar to this in the past with your iPhone, recommending musical slideshows from your phone and video reels. And on the Insta360 GO 2, depending on the template you use, you can select a few to several different clips directly from the camera, and the AI will go to work making a creative edit for you, editing it to the music. Currently, the template selection is limited, but there is definitely scope for this to grow in the future. Now, some people might not like the idea of an AI creating their content, but it is fully customizable, so you can go in and change things or move things around if you're not happy with them. And this is definitely something for you to consider, because it might take you an hour or so to create something in Premiere, whereas you can quickly create something in a couple of minutes using the app. And I think this is ideal if you want a quick highlight reel of your day for your social stories or social media without spending time downloading footage and editing. And this little ecosystem between the app and the camera makes it possible for you to shoot footage that you will actually use. As many of you content creators will know, we have hard drives full of content that never ever see the light of day or get edited because we don't have the time to wade through all that content. But here, with the convenience of your mobile device, you can let the app do all the thinking for you and at least get some of your content out there on social media in a timely manner, in a quick way, very quickly. I'm hoping to get the point across here. So there are quite a few good reasons why you might want to consider getting an Insta360 GO 2, but it's far from perfect. Firstly, I was a little surprised that there was no 4K option available on this camera, particularly in 2021. The battery life is poor. You get about 20 minutes in the Pro stabilized video setting before you need to reconnect to the base unit, and even then, the base unit gives you 110 minutes in Pro mode before the whole thing needs to be charged up, and that takes about an hour. So it's not going to last a whole day of vlogging for sure. And you can't just swap out the battery. If it dies on you and the case is out of battery too, then you've got to charge the whole thing up. It's very annoying, especially if you've planned to do something all day. Really, with this camera, it's just about short bursts of video and maybe a few photos here and there. The memory on this thing is also not great. It's 32 gigabytes of data, which adds up to roughly 30 minutes of stabilized footage. And again, like the battery, there's no way to increase that. You have to offload your content to a laptop and then format this thing to get another 30 minutes, which again is not convenient if you're planning a whole day thing outside.
I think the one thing that I don't really like about the Insta360 GO when you're using the case is that it's quite slippery in your hands when you close it up. There's no grip on it. Maybe they could put a bit of rubber around it so you can hold it a little bit better, because I just find it slips out of the hand a little bit too easily, and it's not waterproof, so I should probably not be using it near the lake.
And also, it's not that cheap. It's going to cost you $300 in the United States, and they've put it at £295 in the UK. And for that kind of money, you could probably get a GoPro Hero 8, which might be more suitable. So who should consider getting an Insta360 GO 2 camera? Well, to be honest, it could be anybody and nobody. And what I mean by that is, before you go ahead and purchase this camera, you need to ask yourself this one question: what am I actually going to use it for? Now that might seem like an obvious question, but it will help you to stop and assess whether it fits your needs and projects before you pull the plug and purchase it. Is this just a fad piece of tech where you buy it on a whim, you use it once or twice, and then you throw it in a drawer and eventually give it away to one of your relatives or friends? Or is it something that you are actually going to use? Is it going to find a place in your kit bag and your workflow? For me as a content creator, I'm constantly looking for ways to shoot behind the scenes stuff for what I do, and because of its size, simplicity of use, the practicality of mounting, and the versatility of shots that I can get, that leads me to believe that the Insta360 GO 2 will be a very valuable travel buddy in my kit bag. It will never be the main camera that I'm using, but it will definitely complement what I'm currently using at the time to help me get additional interesting B-roll shots and pieces for social media. And that is what I believe the target audience for this camera is. It is for casual shooters who want something easy to use to put stuff up on social media that looks cool.
It is a lovely day in the UK for a wedding, and Rob and Estelle have decided to get married.
Will it stand the test of time? Well, it doesn't have 4K, the battery and memory are poor, and we don't know how robust this thing actually is. So the jury is still out on that one. What I will say is that the Insta360 team are definitely on the right track with this piece of tech, and maybe the next revision will pick up on these pain points and be the ultimate action camera. So what do you guys think? Are you looking to get yourself an Insta360 GO 2? If so, what will you be using it for? Or will you be looking to get something else? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, guys, do consider subscribing to the YouTube channel and hitting that little bell for notifications. So that's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching. All that's left to say is stay creative, stay safe, imagine, implement, and inspire. And I'll catch you next time on KaiCreative. Kind of reminds me of that thing in Men in Black when they erase your memory. You know, when they pull that thing out and they say, I need you to look here, and they give you a fake story. What's that thing called? Let me know down below if you know what that Men in Black thing is called, please. Thank you.